thug 'em, f*** 'em, love 'em, leave 'em. 'Cause I don't f***ing need 'em. Take 'em out the hood, keep 'em looking good, but I don't f***ing feed 'em. What's up, gang? Welcome to Inspired By, a series where we look at the musical trends, past and present, so that we can understand the techniques used so that you guys can make better music. If you're new to the series, I'm Will, and I make music under Hushchild. You know that if there was a 2020 follow-up to that record, it would be called Big Simpin', right? But we're not here to talk about Jay-Z or that record today. We're here to talk about Hossay Ramzy, the person that was sampled for Big Pimpin'. First, let's get inspired and let's learn something. I went back into the vaults of my old projects and I found this track from 2017, maybe 2016 when I started it. And it's not brilliant, but I want to be completely transparent in this series and show you some of the tracks that I'm most proud of and show you the ones that I do enjoy, but if I was to make it today, I'd make some changes. The thing that I'm really happy about is the sample choice in this track and the fact that it led to kind of a fusion of genres. It had a film music kind of sound, but it also had this hip hop sound that was originally based on Big Pimpin'. I wanted to use a Hossay Ramzy sample, and I can't actually remember where I got the original sample from, so if you do know, please leave it in the description below. As per my last video, I wanted to show you around the arrangement of this track I'd already created, the choices that I made, but I also wanted to be honest in the things that I disliked about this track and some of the things that I would have changed if I'd made it today. Oh, and as always, this is inspired by, so I'm not trying to replicate Big Pimpin', I'm merely taking inspiration from the original sample and trying to make it my own. Let me show you around this project. Let's jump into it.
All right, and we're back. So as I mentioned before, this is an older track. This is something that I made 3, maybe 4 years ago when I started it. I think with this example, what it does is it highlights that original inspiration and how it led to a fusion of genres with this particular track. If I was to redo this today, I would probably change quite a few things, and I'll highlight those as we go through this tutorial. Let's start off with the bit that I am proud of, the sample choice. So I originally took inspiration from Big Pimpin', and the producer that worked on Big Pimpin' sampled Hossay Ramzy. Hossay Ramzy, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And this is the sample I picked. Now, you can see that originally I actually sampled Inpspired, but I didn't end up using this sample here. I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get taken down. If you know where this original sample came from, please leave it in the comments below because I can't find it anywhere. When you do Shazam this track, it comes up where I originally uploaded it with my old producer tag. So I have no idea where I got this from. I've searched high and low through Hossay Ramzy's Spotify. Maybe it's been taken down, but this was the original sample. Nope, wasn't that one. Similar to Big Pimpin', haven't changed it that much from the original. So if we go into my sample, this is what we've got. I've just beefed it up a little bit. So before we get started in this track, something that you'll notice is that there's just tons of automation going on. If I was to redo this track, I'll probably be a little bit more intentional with the use of plugins and maybe bouncing things in place so I wouldn't have to automate by hand these parts, but hey ho. So our sample choice as we go in, I started with the percussion section, drenched the bells in reverb, and slowly start bringing them in with the volume automation, and then just tapering that reverb back to a dry signal. Underneath, you can hear just an introduction to our main sample. Just with a bit of kind of telephone EQ there. So just as something to bear in mind is I have this voice pluck in there, which is a preset by Alchemy. Nothing special done to it, just a little bit of reverb. And that just adds a little bit of a electronic feel throughout the track. Again, something that I probably wouldn't go with today. So these next two compositional choices are, I guess, where you could say the track steers away from the big Pimpin, Hossay Ramzy examples or inspirations and becomes a little bit more film music. We've got these action drums, and that kind of doubles up that sample. So we're starting to get into film scoring territory there. And the same goes for what I've used in the intro and the outro, the choices with the strings as well. So here we're just using Kontakt session strings with the cellos there, just creating a bit of a mood. And then I've chosen Kontakt's action strings to create a little bit of a rhythm before we drop into the song. It's got that kind of Jaws feel with the trill in the lower and higher violins there. Mixed with the sample, it sounds like this. And then we're into the drop. So I don't hate this track, but one thing that I probably would improve upon is the tempo. It feels a little bit sluggish. Back in 2017, I wasn't fully embracing rattle hats either. So I've got this annoying arpeggiated same velocity hi-hat going through. Now this is a cool little hack that you guys can use. It's not something I've come up with. A lot of YouTubers have spoken about it. What I've done is just created one long MIDI line and I've added the Logic arpeggiator here. This method works if you're in the studio, you want to get an idea out quickly. And it also works really nicely if you are trying to create that rattle hi-hat sound. So if you were to have pitched up hi-hats above, pitched down hi-hats below, and then you were messing with the rate, you could automate this rate, you'd get an effect like this. And I'm sure you can guess how you would use that in your own scenario. We've layered the snares here. Just a little side snare. When we go into our main section, I've stretched out those snares. They become a little bit more military-like, some triplet grooves in there. So I've stacked our snare layers. We've got a decap clap and a couple of graves layers there. I've got this huge electric mantis bass drum that I haven't done too much to, just sausage fattener, sheps and an EQ there, and a little bit of a tambourine layer. Just playing on the one of every beat. So the drum section as a whole. Something that I still use to this day is the ES2 monster sine, just an ever so slightly distorted sine wave. And on that, obviously, I'm heavily sidechaining it so that kick drum can come through. And I've got the waves R bass as usual as well, just to pull it out of those smaller speakers. We switch it up over to the 808 when we go into our slightly louder section. And another grave sample there with the 808. But that's pretty much the sample selection. The only thing that I've really done to differentiate between the sections is just to add low pass to the sample or high pass to the sample, and then switch up the bass patterns, occasionally taking out the drums. So we have a section here where we go from full track to taking out the snares with a slightly low pass kick drum, this reverse sample here, and then we're back into the main pattern. Take everything out, reverse with the hi-hat. And then the same goes for, I guess you would call it the final chorus, the double chorus. Just giving a false drop to the song here, just to build a bit of tension. So all I'm doing is low passing it and then just repeating that entrance point of the sample. And then the only switch ups that I'm making at the end of the track are just some glitchy parts where I just low pass the sample into a reverse and then just cut up the sample into kind of 30-second notes. That was a quick little rundown of how I made this beat. It was obviously based on Big Pimpin and the sample that was taken from Hossay Ramzy. Like I said, this track didn't really do anything when it came out at the time, but I've always thought it was kind of a good sample choice. And again, shows how my sound has changed over the years and the different techniques that I was using then a year ago, now, and that I'll probably continue to change in years to come as well. Hope you found this helpful, guys. As always, what I'll do is I'll play this beat in its entirety.
As always, if you liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe, as it helps me out. And I'm so happy to see that this community is now growing. There we go, guys. So that's how I went about creating this track. As you can tell, I'm not super over the moon with some of the choices that I made, but I do enjoy the track for the most part. I do enjoy the original inspiration that I took from the track, and I like the sample choice, but I'll just make a few tweaks here and there to make it sound more 2020. I hope you enjoyed the transparency of this episode and the honesty. I hope you found it helpful to see the arrangement techniques I used to use and how I've changed that and developed that over the years. Do make sure you hit that bell icon, as the next couple of weeks are really exciting. I've got some new stuff coming your way. As per, you can normally find me streaming on Reddit and once a week on Twitch, and you can find the links to those in the description. For now, guys, take care, and I'll see you next time.